Welcome to the Birth Squad, the podcast designed to empower birthing individuals with real insights from two Black female physicians. We're here to guide you through your health journey, one episode at a time. I'm Dr. Kimeshia Thomas.
And I'm Dr. Ijeoma Bello. We are two OBGYNs and longtime best friends, and we're here to help navigate you through the world of reproductive health.
Real women, real stories, real experts, and the facts you need to know.
Tune in every other Sunday, and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Ready to join the squad? Let's get into it.
All right, Birth Squad, we made it. What a season it has been. We laughed, we learned, and we've had some real raw conversations about pregnancy, birth, and beyond. And today we're going to go ahead and reflect on the biggest takeaways and also answer some of the questions that y'all sent in to us. And we'll talk about what's next for the Birth Squad as well.
Yes, this season was packed. We covered everything from postpartum recovery and lactation to pregnancy loss, pelvic floor health, infertility, and even high-risk birth complications. It's been an emotional and yet educational, powerful journey.
Yes, and before we dive in, we just want to say thank you to all of our listeners, our guests, and everyone who shared their experiences. You made this season what it was, amazing. And the stories, the expert advice, and the vulnerability were incredible.
So why don't we start with one of the most requested topics, the fourth trimester. So many people told us they felt unprepared for the reality of postpartum and breastfeeding.
Yes, what stood out to me was how postpartum is often overlooked, even though it's one of the most critical times for a birthing person's health.
Exactly. And our expert, Dr. Choa, really emphasized the need for a postpartum plan and early lactation support. This is because that transition into the postpartum period isn't always intuitive, and having guidance before issues arise can make a huge difference.
Another really touching episode that sparked a lot of conversation was actually from Dr. Toalawi. She shared her second trimester pregnancy loss and how she transformed her grief into purpose.
Yeah, that was really heavy, but so necessary. The messages we got from listeners who experienced loss, it just showed us how important it is to talk about it openly.
Absolutely, because really no one should suffer in silence. One of the biggest takeaways is that grief is not linear, and there's no one right way to navigate it.
And then on a different note, we had an amazing conversation about pelvic floor therapy and pelvic floor health with Dr. Lynn. And let me just say, why don't we talk about this more?
Listen, okay? The way pregnancy and birth impact your pelvic floor is something everyone should know. But it's like this hidden topic. And like so many people just accept things like leaking of urine and pain with sex as normal.
And the truth is, there's help. Pelvic floor therapy can change your whole experience, not just for birth, but for long-term health.
Absolutely. And then another interesting topic that we tackled was a planned home birth with Shalea's story, which, let me tell you, brought so many questions from our listeners.
Yes, and what I loved was breaking down the myths versus the reality.
Exactly. It's all about having informed decision-making.
Another powerful story, Morgan's experience with spontaneous rupture of membranes, because when your water breaks before labor even starts, it can really change things. It's important to know it's not just like the movies.
Yes, and her story really showed us how every birth can unfold differently. It was a great reminder that even when things don't go as planned, being informed and supported can make all the difference.
Then we had one of my favorite episodes, Busy Mom Hacks for Healthy Family Meals with Kathleen, aka Chef Lean. Because listen, feeding kids while trying to stay healthy yourself, it's a whole job.
Facts. I loved how our expert, Chef Lean, kept it realistic because let's be honest, we're not out here trying to make gourmet meals every single night.
No, but small changes, they add up. Simple things like meal prepping, using quick protein sources, and getting kids involved, it makes a difference.
So another big topic was about genetic screening with Laura's story, because let's be real, those tests can feel really overwhelming, especially if you don't know what they mean or the implications of it.
Right? And we talked about understanding the results, knowing your options, and advocating for yourself in conversations with providers.
Yes. And another episode, of course, was our infertility episode with Dr. Mandelbaum. That episode was so powerful. There's a lot of misinformation about fertility treatments out there. And so we wanted to really break it down with science and not shame.
And the biggest takeaway, you are not alone. Infertility affects so many people, and seeking help is not a failure. It's a step towards understanding your body and your options.
Absolutely. We also want to thank Perlita for sharing her story about a shoulder dystocia that she experienced in one of her births.
She showed us that having a well-prepared team is everything.
And finally, ectopic pregnancy. We were so honored to have the amazing race contestant, Anna, share her story. It was real, it was raw, and it showed how having an early diagnosis and advocacy can truly save lives.
Her journey was eye-opening. So many people don't even know what an ectopic pregnancy is or how serious it can be. That episode really helps raise awareness.
Absolutely. So now, before we wrap up, we asked you all to send in your biggest takeaways or any lingering questions. So we want to take a moment to answer a couple. The first one comes from Danielle in Atlanta, and she asks, I'm considering a home birth, but my family keeps saying it's unsafe. What's the biggest misconception about home birth? Well, Danielle, you are not alone in this. There are many myths about home birth, and one of the biggest ones is that it's dangerous or reckless.
Yes, and what we learned from Shalea's home birth story is that home births are actually very intentional. It's not just about having a baby at home. It's about being low risk, properly prepared, and supported by skilled professionals.
Exactly. Certified midwives monitor you just like a doctor would and know when transfer of care is necessary. And so a home birth isn't about avoiding medical care. It's more about choosing where and how to give birth while being as safe as possible.
So our next question comes from Jasmine in Dallas. She says, I'm pregnant with my second baby, and I'm scared of complications like a shoulder dystocia. How can I prepare? Well, Jasmine, I completely understand your concern. Shoulder dystocia can be scary, but being informed already is a huge step towards being prepared.
Yes, and we talked to Perlita during her interview who experienced a shoulder dystocia during one of her births. And one of the key takeaways was actually having a team that knows how to respond to a shoulder dystocia. So if you're birthing in a hospital, ask your provider, what is the protocol for handling shoulder dystocia? They should be able to explain the maneuvers that they would use if it were to happen.
And if you're birthing outside of a hospital, make sure your midwife is trained in and recognizes a shoulder dystocia. But also, most importantly, trust your body and your provider. Many cases resolve quickly with the right maneuvers.
Exactly. And the last question we'll go over is from Maria in Los Angeles. And she asked, I loved Anna's story about her ectopic pregnancy. I had never even heard about it before. What should I look out for? That is a great question, Maria. I'm so glad that you asked this. Anna's story was truly eye-opening, and it really showed how important it is to recognize these symptoms early.
Yes, some key warning signs of ectopic pregnancy include severe one-sided pelvic pain, spotting or bleeding outside of your period, dizziness, and even shoulder pain. Shoulder pain happens because of the bleeding that can be happening internally causes irritation. And that irritation is where our diaphragm is, where we kind of take the deep breaths when we're trying to sing or talk. And that's a really big red flag.
And the most important thing, if ever something feels off, don't wait. Advocate for yourself. Ask for an ultrasound to confirm the pregnancy location. Ask for that extra pregnancy hormone level because early detection can save your life.
And that's where y'all come in. Tell us what you want to hear for next season. DM us, email us, or drop a comment on our Instagram at The Birth Squad.
Yes, we are so grateful for this community, and we cannot wait for you all to join us for what's next. All the best.